And we're back. We are back tonight. Excited to be back talking about a new movie from 2025, because that's the year we are in. God damn it. And if it's, it's not a good, never a better time for a zombie movie, is what that's the famous saying that I say a lot on this show. And so we're watching one called The Silent Zone. Why is the movie called The Silent Zone? Ian, are you in the silent zone right now? Oh my God, I got it. Yeah, this movie is by Peter Deak.
Yes.
A little man, possibly.
Where are you getting that from?
I didn't mean it like. He might
it's not Peter Deaklage.
He might be bigger. I don't know. We're just making assumptions, but a man who hails from a land in which he made this movie. Wow, we're getting there. Ian, what is The Silent Zone about?
Yeah, so it's a zombie movie.
All right, period.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it?
No.
I mean, it does the same things a lot of zombie movies do. You have a initial chaos scene and a very personal scene with a family that's getting torn apart and a man who saves a little girl. Fast forward 10 years, and there's this man, and she's now a teenager, somewhere 15, 18, somewhere in that range. He's clearly trained her to be a little competent. She knows guns, she knows a little combat, and they're making their way through the post-apocalypse, trying to avoid zombies, trying to avoid people. Difficult to do.
Would you say that perhaps
hijinks ensue?
Hijinks ensue.
Indeed. Of course, they have a run-in with some other survivors, and the zombies are chasing them, and
bada bing, bada boom.
Bing, bada boom.
Mad scientists.
Trying to get to a place. Oh yeah, the mad scientist was a little bit of a twist.
We'll get into all that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of terrible zombie movies, and I mean like a fuck ton of terrible zombie movies.
I kind of think terrible zombie movies tend to be more fun than terrible other kinds of genre movies.
All right.
In my opinion. Not to say they're universally great. They're not all great.
No, it's just there is
by any means.
There is a huge amount of them, and so the majority of the low budget ones are usually pretty forgettable. And terrible.
They can be. Especially like with this one, if you tried to make this really low budget, and this wasn't that low budget.
Not at all.
It certainly isn't.
It's not.
Last of Us or Walking Dead or it's not that level, but it's not micro budget either. Yeah. But if this was a micro budget movie, like sometimes those movies have the difficulty of they try to make the scale way bigger than what they're capable of accomplishing. But this was about the right level. I think it was a good match to story and scale, and
the movie had a lot of scale.
Yeah.
Like I was actually really surprised when we turned this on.
Something we never heard of this. We just kind of turned on the TV and we're like, oh, this looks cool.
Never heard of this. Yeah, so I was really surprised because I was expecting, dog shit.
Yeah, I was ready for dog shit.
And while we got the checklist of zombie tropes, like this movie, I'm not gonna remember this movie in 3 days. You know what I mean?
This one kind of reminded me a little bit of Daybreak. Was that like Texas-based zombie movie?
Oh, I never watched that. Wasn't that like a comedy?
No.
Oh, I thought it was a comedy. Okay.
Might be confusing it for something else.
No, maybe I am confusing it for something else. I don't know. But the tropes are abound within this thing. So that is like where I mean, like in a couple days, I'm not gonna really remember this because the fine details aren't really important because it's so many things you've seen before. Mm-hmm. But it's done pretty freaking well.
Yeah. And there's no major flaws to this. I mean, there's some times where there was definitely some CGI in a way that took me out of a pinch, but made sense for what they were doing.
The major flaws are that it's just ungodly derivative and it really brings nothing new except one thing, which we will get into later.
Yes, I think zombie movies are full of tropes and they all do a lot of the same thing. Yeah. There's a character who's been bitten, but he's trying to hide it. Yeah. All that stuff. And you'd compare this a little bit to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Guy trying to escort little girl across the wasteland. I mean, it's missing some of those elements of, she's possibly carrying something that. She's not. This girl is not unique in any way. She's just a survivor. Just a survivor.
Just like Destiny's Child was.
What's fun about zombie movies is the human characters in them and how they relate to each other. And I thought they did that well in this. They didn't forget that. Like some movies just like start out with like the idea like, wouldn't it be cool if? And then wouldn't it be cool if this happened? Wouldn't it be cool? And they forget to have a story.
Are you talking about my movie right now?
Pretty much. Like we're gonna, if it was the end of the world, man, like we're gonna go fucking raid the Costco, man, and then we're gonna go, and like that's just the basis of what becomes the movie. And that's like, there's no story sometimes, and that's lame.
I hear you. I'll push back a little. Like, a gimmick would have done something for this movie and to make it a little bit more original. Because, yes, it has a story, but it has a story that's literally in every fucking zombie thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, trying to get to the place.
Trying to get to the place,
in the way.
And this guy's got this.
Sure.
So, that's...
I'm here for that kind of thing, though.
Yeah. No.
Zombie movies are very much my jam.
Yeah, but the effects and the look of the film, really pretty good. Not much in the gore department, I didn't think.
Not excessive amount.
No.
There could have been more.
Yeah.
I didn't think it overly lacked in that either, though.
No, it was fine. It actually felt kind of like this was rated R, but I think it could have passed as like a PG-13 kind of thing.
Potentially.
Almost, maybe. It was close. What did you think of Macho Hunky Man?
He was fine. I mean, he certainly filled the role that was needed of being, badass, and I'm going to be badass all the time. And he was like, give him some claws on a cigar, and he's basically Wolverine.
Yeah, I kind of liked him.
Yeah, I liked him too. But he also, he was good at, showing emotion in a way that, sometimes the big badass buff characters just either aren't given the space to do or just don't have the talent to do.
Yeah. When he had that baby, and he had it, in between his arms.
You can spend too long with the camera on him where he's just contemplating and thinking and it's working well enough. He's a competent enough actor in that regard. Yeah. There's sometimes where he's just, I'm a big tough macho guy, I'm gonna say whatever macho thing fits in here. It worked though. There's one thing I could change this movie to make it less generic, speaking to your biggest concern about this.
Okay.
I wish they really let the area where it was filmed be more essential to the story. I think this movie has the same problem for me that the last Critters movie did. Was it Critters Rehatched or something like that from 2020 or something? 15, somewhere in there. Where they filmed it in South Africa, the Critters movie, not this one. This was Hungary. But they wanted it to be such a nothing place so that everybody could see themselves or their own environment. True. And I think that's the wrong move entirely. Yeah. I think if you make it about a place, that gives so much more character. Train to Busan is possibly the best zombie movie ever made.
No, get the fuck out of here.
It's up there.
Such overrated. My God, we're not gonna get into that.
That's such a great movie.
It's fine.
Oh man, get the fuck out.
I don't like K-dramas. They're so melodramatic. It's ridiculous to me.
Okay.
I think
it's one of the greatest zombie movies. Okay. And it being South Korean is so essential to that story. You could take that story and do it somewhere else, but that would change it pretty dramatically.
Well, I will say a better movie, also in a specific location, 28 Days Later.
Yeah, or 28 Days Later, or Shaun of the Dead, which are both distinctly British.
Best zombie movie ever.
Yeah, you could take both of those. You could take those stories and do them elsewhere, but that would change them.
Yes, I do.
In pretty dramatic ways, where this is just trying to be kind of a nothing everywhere kind of a thing. It's filmed in Hungary, but they never really give you much sense for where it is. And the cast is very international. There's British actors, there's Hungarian actors, there's Russian actors.
Remember my joke?
I don't.
Where was it filmed?
Hungary?
I often get hungry too, Ian. That's when we were watching
the zombies are pretty hungry.
That's better than the one I had. No, I do agree. That would have been cool. It would have brought so much more character to this film.
Yeah. What was there was a Turkish horror movie from 10 years ago. It was called Baskin.
That movie's great.
They did some of the tropey things that movies like it do, but it had such a character of its local flavor to it.
Yeah.
That made it I just felt like it was a different world. Somebody in Pennsylvania is not going to make that movie.
No, exactly.
That's what I would have liked from this one.
It was weird. It seemed like the cast consisted of actors from all over the place.
I think the second male lead is from Ireland.
Yeah, and at times it felt like maybe it was just a fact of where they were filming or something, but at times it felt like some of the characters were overdubbed, especially when you got near the end with the boat and the teenager boat.
I think they were leaning into local actors probably that didn't have a lot of English experience. Just guessing, I don't know, or maybe there's just sound issues. Maybe there's one actor in particular we noticed was overdubbed a lot, and that could have been an English issue, or it could have just been the mic pack they kept using for that guy malfunctioned or something. I don't know.
I will say this movie is way more action than it is horror.
Yeah, and a lot of zombie movies are.
True. Oh, and we should say, this is not your typical slow-moving zombie.
No.
This is
And they're not even zombies.
They're not even freaking
They're not
zombies.
They're ferals. How do you feel about doing that? That always annoys me a little bit in zombie movies when they're like, we can't use the Z word, we're gonna come up with our own word. Like, sometimes it makes sense if you're trying to like establish a new set of rules that don't like fit all the tropes. But if we just did all the tropes, just call them zombies, it's fine.
It was cool in 28 Days Later because it was newer then.
But they're also trying to establish that this isn't going to follow the rules that you're expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it worked there.
I mean, I understand why they do the faster zombies now because it is way more intense.
Yeah, especially trying to make it more action and less horror.
The feral nature of them, Ian, does come into play in several aspects of this film. Spoilers, sorta. You've seen every zombie. You've seen a zombie movie. You've seen everything.
Well, we're getting into spoilers. It's spoiler
This is a
time.
freaking spoiler zone.
You think you're gonna watch it?
The silent zone, the spoiler zone now.
Yes, the silent spoiler zone.
Zombies. These ferals. These ferals have intelligence.
Some, yeah.
Somewhat, because in the beginning of the movie, they're like being tracked by them, like a scout, they say.
Yeah, they talked about there being scouts.
So this group is a moving horde that is.
Yeah, they have about like the intelligence of wolves. You know what I mean? They move in packs.
Yeah.
You know, they can coordinate a little bit, but they're not talking. They're not, they're not using tools. There
is a leader of the ferals who does have a girlfriend that gets killed early on in the film.
Girlfriend, you think?
I don't know, showed her and then he went, yeah. And that's what I would do, right, if I was a feral and it was my girlfriend.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Who does have significant role realized by the end of the film.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, the lead feral, we didn't know this the whole time. It was the girl's dad the whole time.
The whole time. And you know how that changes things?
Not a lot.
It doesn't.
And it was good. It was well executed.
And they lead you to the battle at the end between the new dad and the old dad, and she has to make the choice, which wasn't really a choice. But that's not the most original thing about this film.
No.
The most original thing is the mad scientist with the Nintendo Power Glove.
That was a little bit of a new element. I'd say no zombie movies ever had like a mad scientist type character, but the way they did it, this one was different.
We immediately called like, oh, he's got his wife locked up, he's gonna feed her to him or whatever like that. It's not quite that.
No, a little weirder.
Close. He has the Nintendo Power Glove, which he can use to control the zombies that he created himself. And play Nintendo. And that, while the most interesting part of the film or unique part of the film, also I gotta say the dumbest part of the film.
Kinda, yeah, but it did also give it some character. That is the thing you'll remember 3 days from now.
That is true. You know what's a really good zombie movie? Maybe it's not a zombie movie. Overlord? That movie's badass.
Overlord. That was the World War II one.
Yeah. With, what's his face's son?
Yeah, Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to wet my whistle, as they say.
Go for it.
One other thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about this movie was the music. And it's because it was overbearing a lot of times, and it felt like there was no reprieve ever. Every sequence was filled with heavy strings that...
I honestly don't think I really noticed the music, and I don't remember much about that.
I think what it does is it just, when there's drama, it tries to heighten the drama, but it heightens it so much into melodrama for me. Waxing and waning something so it doesn't become so consistent to me, so I feel nothing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
One last thing, Robert Downey Jr. reprising his role as the Tropic Thunder character. Well, it's not one I was putting on my bingo card for this film, but hey, we got there, right?
Oh, we did. Surprised they got Robert Downey Jr.
Surprised, they got money.
I mean, Saban Films, they can throw some money at some stuff.
This movie couldn't have been that low budget. There are so many locations.
It's definitely very medium.
Yeah, and so many actors, and like the makeup effects on the zombies was really cool.
But they were touching that up in post too.
Sure. But yeah, no, I think there's some props here to the production values of the film. Overall,
there's just some complicated shots and set pieces too.
And you know the worst thing about this movie for me is, right?
I do.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Because I said something.
It was if it goes 1 minute beyond an hour and a half, you get real upset, and this was almost 2 hours.
I only get upset if it's not justified.
Okay.
And I feel like it wasn't justified. There was some stuff that could have been cut from this film to make it slicker, smoother.
It wasn't excessive.
No, it wasn't excessive.
My least favorite type of, and this happens both in zombie fiction and in sci-fi quite a bit, where like your characters are, you know, they're if it's sci-fi, they're on a deserted planet or a wildlife-filled planet with a zombie apocalypse. You got to get from here to the other city, and then there's just a set of like 20 different obstacles, which you could like reorganize, move around, and like it doesn't even matter. It's just how many roadblocks do I have to set up until the book has a book length? Yeah, you know what I mean. I read a bunch, so and it's just annoying when they don't when things don't happen in this. If you can cut out a scene entirely and it still makes sense, cut it out. Or give it some reason. I don't think this was that bad at that. Most scenes, something developed.
Yeah, and maybe it's the fact that I'm like, all right, yeah, I know what this is. I've seen this before, so that's maybe why I feel that way. That some of it could be cut. I don't know. So that's it, really, in a nutshell. Yeah. I don't think this is a movie that, unless you're like a big zombie fan, really, you're gonna get much out of. But it's definitely better than like a majority of the zombie movies that come out.
It's competent, but it's not must-see by any means.
No.
It's not making any top 10 lists.
No. All right, well, that's going to do it for the Silent Zone. If you've seen it, let us know what you think. If you have a movie recommendation, leave that in the comments. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Maybe eat something healthy.
Yeah.
Like go for a walk.
Yeah. Have some vegetables. I don't know.
Vegetables? I don't know. Do something for yourself.
Brussels sprouts are pretty good. Give them a shot.
I like them when
you tried them since you were a kid.
Cut them up and saute them.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That shit's good.
Crisp them up somehow.
Yeah, that's good. All right, that's it, guys. Catch you here next time.